Phil and Holly have always been a funny duo. They have a natural ability to make people laugh, which is why they're such an entertaining pair. They often joke around with each other and come up with the silliest conversations. One classic Phil and Holly bit was when Holly started talking about the secrets of being successful. Phil was pretending to take notes for a few minutes, but eventually gave up due to the lack of logical advice. Another time, Phil and Holly agreed to list their favorite items from the 12 Days of Christmas Carol. After a while, they started reciting different items of their own invention instead of any of the traditional ones. Occasionally, the pair get into amusing disagreements. During one particular skit, they debated whether or not truck in a tree was a reasonable gift for the holiday season. When Holly said something particularly cheesy, Phil reacted to it by covering his eyes and groaning in mock disgust. This quickly became a running gag on the show. During another show, Phil and Holly engaged in a completely serious conversation about the relative merits of two different restaurants. This led to a heated debate, which eventually dissolved into a fit of laughter. Another joke they enjoy playing is when Phil references a famous film or TV show. The pair will then start to act the scene out, to the sound of many laughs. Whenever Phil is discussing something, he will often use a pun to explain it. Holly usually responds by rolling her eyes and shaking her head in amusement. On one show, Holly began listing off some of her habits which Phil found bizarre. She argued that they were normal until Phil produced evidence that they were actually quite eccentric. Phil and Holly like to compare UK life to its counterpart in the USA. They often break into a mock argument as to which country is superior, much to everyone's delight. Another funny game they enjoy playing with each other is philosophizing. They'll start talking about anything, creating an argument which often leads to laughter. Holly often pretends to be an expert on something that Phil knows nothing about. He usually responds to this by making skeptical comments, causing the audience to chuckle. Holly usually teases Phil about something he said earlier in the show. She will usually act surprised that he could make such a comment, which sets off a chain reaction of laughter. Every now and then, Phil and Holly's bits revolve around them trying to complete a challenge. During one such game, they attempted to make up a co-op version of a board game, much to the amusement of the viewers. They also love to play all kinds of word games. Phil will usually be the one to come up with puzzles that really make everyone think. Phil and Holly often crack up the audience with stories from their past. They'll talk about times when they were in silly situations or trying to figure out how to do something. On another show, Phil and Holly showed their animal-like knowledge. They started talking about certain behaviors that animals are capable of, providing interesting factoids that caused the audience to erupt in laughter. The pair have also been known to impersonate different people and characters from TV and movies. This always leads to an entertaining discussion, plus lots of laughter from the show's viewers. Holly is also very quick-witted and often cracks jokes without warning. Phil will usually respond with either a funny quip or an exaggerated eye roll. During one particular bit, Phil and Holly laughed so hard that tears were streaming down their faces. This inspired an entire segment during which the pair attempted to come up with new jokes that could make them laugh as hard again. Phil and Holly often take turns making fun of each other. During one particular example, Holly suggested that Phil should start making his own jokes instead of relying on people to give him funny ones. Every now and then, Phil and Holly surprise their viewers with hilarious hidden talents that they possess. During one show, Phil attempted to do a backflip, much to the delight of everyone watching. Phil and Holly's funny bits often involve them attempting to do something ridiculous and ending up in a fit of laughter. On one occasion, the pair were trying to list as many English words as possible and ended up struggling to speak afterwards. They have also been known to stage surprise challenges for each other. One such example was when Holly attempted to eat her own weight in donuts and Phil kept her motivated throughout. Another time, Phil and Holly tried to tell each other riddles in an attempt to make each other laugh. This spurred on a discussion about old childhood games, with both of them attempting to one-up each other's jokes.